And Mercandani Studios, we appreciate them so much. Our great title sponsors. Just heard from them, and they seem very happy with everything. And we sent them a bunch of numbers, and the numbers were good. And all is well with the world. You know why it's all well with the world, and I'm in a great mood? We had football this weekend, and it went. And let me tell you what, the game Sunday night, we'll get to eventually, was one of the best games I've ever seen in my life, with the desired result. But we had football, and we had all kinds of great games going on, and there were some games that were, again, this is college football. Oh my God, what's going on with Iowa State? You know, that kind of stuff. Oh, you looked at the Vandy score and you couldn't believe they're even worse than they've ever been. But we'll lead with the mighty Gators in their game against Florida, because our Florida Atlantic, sorry. But that was the game when everybody was at. And I will say this. I say this, and you've never heard me say this before. My wife hasn't even. I was dead ass wrong on what the crowd would be like. That was a huge crowd. They announced it at 86,000. I thought it was pretty darn close to that, too. I'm not saying – now, again, I wasn't there for the game. I went to do some other things, but I wasn't at the game, but I could see it on TV. I asked my wife. I asked my daughter who were there. I asked other people. Great crowd. I was dead wrong. I thought people were going to be too still nervous and worried about things, and that they weren't ready for it, but they were ready. They were ready. They were ready to come cheer their team on. They were ready to come cheer these Gators on. They were ready to they didn't want to turn the chapter on Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney and other guys. They didn't want to turn, but you have to turn it. It's college football, man. You turn the page every year. And sometimes you turn it, you don't lose a lot, but sometimes you turn it, you lose a ton. So I think Gator fans they kind of, I hate to say this, they surpassed my expectations as fans. Now, I'm sure that during this week, they will come back down to the level of, we want Emory Jones out of there, we want Anthony Richardson to be the quarterback, and turning it into a public display. Please don't do that. Let the coaches decide who should be the quarterback, what the best plan is to go forward. Look, we always know we're right? We knew we were right back in the old days when it was David Bowden and Shane Gailey battling for the job, when it was Tommy Shannon and Steve Spurrier battling for the job. Go all the way when you can go back to the Berlin Grossman. I've talked about many times that battle for the starting quarterback job when it was Bowden and Don Gaffney. Poor David Bowden was always in the middle of a quarterback controversy. You go in forever. You can go forever like that. It was Leak and Tebow, even though, and it was before that, it was Leak and Ingle Martin and those guys. There's always some kind of a quarterback issue until you get a guy who's special and takes over the team and does things. Certainly, Kyle Trask was able to do that, and especially in his last year, really. He really was able to do it. But I'm just saying he was able to be their guy, and then the next year he became the quarterback of the face of the Florida Gators. Obviously, Tebow did it for 3 years. Danny Werfel did it for really 2 years when you think about it, because he and Terry Dean are going back and forth in 93 and 94, and then it's Danny's team in 95 and 96. Somebody forgot to turn his phone off. I got good news for you, though. Believe me, when I come back, I'll tell you what it is. But so anyway, where was I? Quarterback. So we're going to have this quarterback controversy because Anthony Richardson looked really good running the football. That's the main thing. He looked really good running the football. He looked like, who he reminded me of? I've heard some comparisons to other quarterbacks, but he reminded me of Jordan Reed, who was a quarterback, if you remember, when he came to Florida and became a tight end, played a lot of years in the NFL, retired recently. He is Jordan Reed was an incredible athlete, and that's what I see when I see Anthony Richardson. Doesn't mean he's the man best suited to try to win the job or try to win the game this week. Let's let Emory have another shot at it as well. It's his first start ever. That's the way I look at it. Let the coaches figure it out. This is the way we want to do it. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, it'd be crazy to let Anthony Richardson have his first start at home against Alabama. The pressure would be too much for anybody, even me. So I would say if this doesn't work out in that regard, I would wait till the following week. I think it's Tennessee at home, and that's fine. But hopefully Emory Jones plays like he did the first two series, right down the field, no problem. He doesn't make bonehead throws like he did for an interception, and of course that I don't think Mullen. I was listening to Mullen's press conference before I came in, and nobody addressed him, or maybe they did after the game, and I just didn't hear it about the 4th and goal play from the 4 where he tried to sneak it in, which was a weird play as well. Just didn't get the play in right. Whatever. It's not the point. The point is they were close to being really good on offense in that game, and they still were in some ways. But they were close to being really good if they just don't have those mistakes that they made. And first game, you're playing a team that really isn't going to score enough against you to win the game. Yeah, that's what there had to be a point in the game where you go, look, they can't score enough to beat us, okay? So we got to try to figure some things out and do this and work that and do that. So we'll see what happens going forward. I mean, that's the thing. You never know with deals like this with the first game, because I've always told people never take it too seriously. The defense. I wanted to talk about the defense. You know, until like the middle of the fourth quarter, FAU did not get in the red zone. That says a lot about your defense. Now, they gave up a lot of yards, a lot of points, but they were a bend, don't break defense. And that's better than what was last year, which was bend, then break defense. So I was happy with what they did. I know FSU came into that game without a whole lot of success last year. I think they were 115th or whatever in scoring last year. And they had all new guys. N'Kosi Perry was new. Johnny Ford was new. They had a bunch of other new players playing. So I expected Florida's defense to play well, and they played even better than I thought they would. At the end of the game there, you know, giving up those 2 touchdowns, you know, you don't want to do that, but those things happen sometimes in those kind of games. But do give a lot of credit to the way they played defensively. I'm not sure about that other corner, Avery Helm. I'm not sure about him. They may have to – maybe he gets better. Again, he's playing his first time in a game like that where he's the guy and he's in front of all those people. I mean, last year there was nobody at the games, as we know. So you take that. You take the situation they had a safety, which I thought worked out okay for most of the game. You had that one deep play where sometimes that happens, you know, in life. You throw the ball, you got the guy covered. He goes up, makes a great catch. You try to rip it away, you can't. He gets a big 45-yard play or whatever, and that set up a touchdown. And that just happens. That's okay. Can't lose a game on one of those in a game. So we had all that. I was very happy to see Xavier Henderson catch a punt with no fear, running up the field for about 35 yards. That was one of the things that stood out to me. He's the guy that can kind of be your – like, you're not going to have another Kadarius Toney, but you can have someone like him or similar to him, or I would rather he be more like Kewan Ratliff, who just never let anything bother him. He just kept running. All right, and then I want to get into, and I'm going to get into a lot of things today, okay? A lot of things. One thing I did want to get into was the offensive line at Florida. I've got notes written all over the place because that's what happens when you finally have a game after you've been all summer going, yeah, well, tell us more about what you're doing this summer. You know, hey, nobody wanted to watch that. All right, so the offensive line, you can say what you want about them. last year coming into this year, we were all way down on them. And they had to show me. Now, they haven't shown me against great opposition, as we all know. But they showed me against a decent front, a front that was pretty good last year. Now, playing Conference USA games again, I know. But at least they did the job in that game. If you don't do the job in that game, you've got real problems. If you can't handle FAU, you can't handle UA. Oh, that was pretty good, wasn't it? It is UA, University of Alabama, yeah. Okay. So, but they did. They rushed for 400 yards. Now, a lot of that was on the two runs that Anthony Richardson had. One was incredible, just showed incredible speed. But, hey, the hole was there. And that's what we've been talking about all summer. God, thank God we get to talk about actual life. We talked about all summer about how, it didn't matter how good the running backs were. If you didn't open holes for them, it wasn't going to matter. And they opened holes, and guys had big runs. So, anyway, so they did that, and no sacks, and no quarterback pressures. It's what you want, man. That is exactly what you want. Now, again, FAU, but they had some good players on that team that were really good last year. But give Florida credit. Of course, we had all kinds of games. If you watched the game last night, I'm a little bleary-eyed, man, because there was a point where I was like, I wish this game would just end. I don't know if I can stay up late. When you're this old, this happens. But FSU Notre Dame, what a game it was. And there was that point, and I know I've got a confession to make, and then we'll break and we'll bring on Mike Huguenin is going to join us, who does a great job for his new website. So I look forward to that on3.com. But so I'm watching the game. Notre Dame is killing FSU, which makes me very happy, as you know. And then Mackenzie Milton comes into the game. They had already scored, though. I mean, it wasn't like he did it all, but they had already scored to cut into the lead. And he comes into the game, and I'm thinking to myself, Pat, it's Mackenzie Milton, one of the greatest stories of all time, what he overcame. And Joe Tessitore shoved that down your throat until you were spitting up Mackenzie Milton. But I was able to shut him off finally, and it is a great story. He took a 10 and tried to make it a 12. Can't do that. So you had that. You had it on the night of Bobby Bowden's kind of memorial, basically, is what it was at Doak Campbell Stadium. And you like Bobby Bowden, Pat. Tell the truth. You like him. You wrote a letter to your dad once. You talked to your wife once. He was a good guy. There's nothing wrong with him. He lets people get away with some things, but hey, most coaches do. And I was like, finally, all of a sudden I settled back and I went, I think I'll be okay with FSU coming back in this game. And I watched the game. Next thing you know, it's a tie game. But then when Notre Dame kicked the field goal, I went, yes. So it's still there. It's just not as bone in. At least last night it wasn't. The dislike for FSU. Sorry, we got to get a break. We got to do that. When we come back, we'll be joined by Mike Huguenin on 3.com. We'll talk about all the games from this weekend. We obviously have a lot of SEC games to talk, as well as the Florida game and FSU's game and Miami's non-game. Did they cover? I don't think they covered those 18 points, did they? I never even saw the game. I was elsewhere. But anyway, we'll be back right after these messages here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Car accidents, trucking accidents, motorcycle accidents, and wrongful death. If injured or killed by the negligence of others, Who will fight for the compensation you deserve? Shackow and Mercadante, 5 lawyers, more than 100 years of combined legal experience, millions in settlements and verdicts. Call Shackow and Mercadante, 371-3000. Rebuilding lives.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where, everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it. This is Pat Dooley encouraging you to become a member of the Gainesville Quarterback Club, the oldest organization anywhere dedicated to Gator football. The club meets weekly during football season with an impressive list of speakers, including Bobby Stoops, Phil Fulmer, Steve Spurrier this year. Meetings are held at the Best Western Gateway Grand, and they have a special offer for you. The first 3 meetings you can attend for only $100. Believe me, this is a bargain, and trust me, you'll have a good time. Get off the bench, and it's time to score for the Gators by joining the Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay, and welcome back to Another Duly Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Shackow and Mercadante Studios at the Coach's Podcast Room of Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. So we've got everything going on here, and now we really have it going on, because if I'm going to talk college football with anybody in the world, I mean anybody, it is with my friend Mike Huguenin, who was the sports editor of the Gainesville Sun for a long time, or shorter time than me, but still a pretty long time. And also now is the national editor for On3.com, which is a great website. You get all this content for free. Ivan Mazel, who's one of my favorite people in the world, writing for it. And so we'll let him get a little plug in here. But mostly, I just wanted to pick your brain about what happened this weekend, Mike.
Yeah, it was a good first weekend. A lot of really entertaining and important games, and that's I think the rarity of the first weekend. 3 huge Big Ten conference games right out of the gate. Clemson, Georgia, the best non-conference game of the season in week 1. The big takeaway for me was Alabama looked mid-season form, despite, frankly, a totally rebuilt offense. But it does not matter for the tie. Does not matter.
Well, the other thing that mattered to me, like LSU, you could kind of see coming. Okay, all the stuff they went through, but still, you still got all these great players, and they none of them played any defense. And UCLA's clearly, Chip Kelly had a plan, and I think this is why he didn't want the Florida job, because Chip Kelly had a plan that would probably take 3 years. 4 years maybe, and Florida fans, what are you talking about? We can't deal with that. But the inability of Clemson to score in Georgia is something I never in my lifetime thought I would see, where Clemson could not score. I watched that whole game, and I can't remember one play from it except that pick 6.
Yeah, that Uiagalelei was hit a lot in the first quarter. And it seemed to me like from that point on, the last 3 quarters of the game, he was in the pocket thinking, okay, I'm going to get hit, so I got to get the ball out. Both defensive lines in that game are tremendous, filled with all sorts of future NFL stars. I think the big surprise to me was that the Clemson offensive line just got whipped. physically beaten, and they were beaten badly. And Clemson could not run the ball. They didn't use the quarterback's legs at all. Justin Ross was a no-show, frankly, and you wonder if he missed all last season after the back surgery, and you wonder, okay, he's healthy, he's running around on the practice field. There's a lot different than running around on the practice field and getting hit in a real game.
Different world, yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
But Clemson's defense played superb football, but didn't matter because the Clemson offense was bad, and that's obviously because the Georgia defense just was in lockdown mode, and that was without two starters in the secondary.
I know, and that's look. I think Gator fans were like last night. They were like, or Saturday night. They were like, well, we didn't look too bad against FAU. Oh, Alabama beat Miami 90-3, and Georgia gave up 3 points against Clemson. This season's over.
Yeah. Well, that's, as a longtime member of a Gator family, that's the way things work for Florida fans. And then Florida State last night, actually, I was surprised at how much faster on defense they look. They still can't pass block. They've given up 83 sacks in the last 29 games. But
it was unbelievable last night. Yeah.
The defense was flying around. McKenzie Milton is a phenomenal story. But when you let Jack Cohn throw for 360 on you, you got issues in your secondary.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So you watched Florida game too, and the Mighty Gators just kind of sleptwalked through it a little bit. I think they were getting used to a new offense, as we all, they got a new offense. It's going to be a real adjustment. Oh, they only won 35-14. What's wrong with them? You can't have it both ways. And then there'll be a quarterback controversy this week between in the fans' minds only between Course Emery and Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and they run for 400 yards, and you're like, good Lord, that's an incredible amount. But everybody was focused on, oh my God, the passing attack looks so bad, and it did look bad. You figured there's going to be a drop-off from last year given all the talent they lost, but I will say I did not think it would be that sporadic. And frankly, the game changed totally on that pick by Emory Jones in the first half. If they score, it's 21-0. Everybody's ecstatic, and I think Jones plays better the rest of the way. But after that pick, he played, to me, a little bit tentative. Anthony Richardson is a phenomenal athlete, but the coaches are blunt. When Anthony Richardson's in the game, the playbook has to shrink because he hasn't been around here as long as Emory Jones. And people forget they had a truncated offseason last year, didn't have a spring practice. Everything was messed up in the summer, messed up in the fall. So, yes, Anthony Richardson's in his second season, but it's really not a real second season because last year was so messed up. Yeah.
He's like
the defense,
I
thought. Yeah, the defense, I thought, did a pretty nice job for most of the game. The front four is going to be, I think, pretty good. Elam obviously is a high caliber corner. Who's the other corner, I think, is a little bit worrisome. I think the safeties are going to be adequate. But the front four or front five, however you want to do it, they got some dudes who can come off the edge.
Mike Huguenin is our guest, the national editor for On3.com and former executive editor of the Gainesville Sun. I mean, how hard was that job, Mike? I just gotta ask you, being the sports editor of the Gainesville Sun.
It was entertaining, but I had come from the sporting news at the time, and it was a lot. I mean, the very first day, my main task at the Sun was to track down the Bell High School JV girls basketball schedule. I went from I covered Michigan, Syracuse in the Big House, and then 5 days later, I'm tracking down the Bell High School JV girls basketball schedule.
Did you get it?
It was different. I got it, yeah. Because at the time, the girls' JV basketball coach at Bell High was the elementary school PE teacher at Bell Elementary. So took a few phone calls.
You could write a book about uninteresting things. Hey, so let's talk about what we got going forward. I mean, now it's almost like everybody's basically saying, that whole thing where we didn't think Alabama was going to sustain it. They're going to be in the final. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Georgia, they're going to be in the final one way or another, or the semifinal. Oklahoma, a lot of questions, but that whole Tulane thing, I mean, that's a good coach with better players than they thought. And then they were so nice to him, it's almost probably hard to be mean to him.
Yeah.
After that.
The Michael Pratt, the Tulane quarterback, is a South Florida kid. Grew up in Boca Raton, went to Boca Raton High, and then transferred for his senior year to Deerfield Beach High for better competition. That kid played really well. Tulane was flying around, and yeah, they made Oklahoma sweat. And Oklahoma's second half throttled it way back, and it almost cost them. But yeah, that defense, there's questions that are now, oh my God, the Oklahoma defense isn't as good as we thought they were. But in Ohio State's another team that new quarterback, big deal.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
I thought he showed a lot of poise. I really did.
Yeah.
People were saying he did. I thought Stroud really looked like a guy who said, I'm the quarterback and I'll throw it out of bounds when I need to.
And that game, given it was in Minnesota, crowd was raucous at Minnesota. Full crowd, obviously 95% of the folks cheering for Minnesota, unlike the game that Bryce Young played, where 95% of the fans were Alabama fans, even though it was neutral site. So Stroud does deserve credit. And then again, that receiving core is a really nice security blanket because those dudes, some of those guys should be in the NFL already.
Oh, yeah. Olavi is incredible.
It's tremendous, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Were you at all surprised by the crowds we saw? I was. I'll be honest with you. I thought we were going to see, say, 70,000 at Florida and maybe 15,000 empty seats in Tallahassee and things like that. I thought there were still people that were worried so much about this variant that they just didn't want to take a risk. But it appears that I don't know if they gave away tickets or whatever, but we saw packed crowds all over the country. Part of me is happy about that. Part of me is thrilled we're all back and everybody's back doing what they love to do. And part of me is scared out of my mind.
Yeah, you wonder if 2 weeks, oh my God, there was an outbreak in Gainesville or outbreak in Blacksburg or whatever. But yeah, the crowds were out in full force. I think they were well oiled in a lot of places, which is fine. But I think it was a little bit surprising. But I think it was sort of a lot of pent up frustration that, now we're back and we're going to go to the game. We're going to celebrate the greatness that is college football and we're going to have a good time. But I was a little bit surprised that, frankly, it seemed like every place I saw on TV, there were very few empty seats.
And I think that, like you said, with that pent-up frustration of wanting to get out, I think you could have scheduled – what was that school, Bishop
Sycamore.
Bishop Sycamore. You could have scheduled Bishop Sycamore and still gotten a full stadium because people just wanted to get out there. Well, I love having you on the show, and we're going to get you on again. But just quickly, I mean, I know there's a couple of huge games, and one game that I'm getting made fun of this for caring, that Missouri and Kentucky are playing. And I think that's a huge game. It's almost an elimination game. It's like remember in the old days when you have wrestling and loser leaves town? That's what this game is. Yeah,
I think neither of those teams is beating Georgia. That's obvious. But if there's a team outside of Florida that's going to finish second in the East, I think it'll be the Missouri-Kentucky winner. The fact that this game is a big SEC East game. And if you're a Gator fan, you need to be paying attention to see, is Kentucky's new look offense totally for real? They beat up on a rummy last week, no big deal. Mizzou's got some guys who can play defensive in the defensive backfield. The Missouri defensive coordinator is Steve Wilkes, the former NFL head coach. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting matchup. Will Levis looked really good last week, but again, it was against a bad team. We're going to know a lot more about Kentucky's offense this week. And frankly, if they can throw the ball around at all effectively, considering their total lack of a passing attack the last couple of years, that makes them a very intriguing team in the division. And lastly for you is the last place team already, and that is Vanderbilt. I was like, are you kidding me? That is Clark Lee, man. That's not good. No, it got beat by 20 points by an FCS team that had lost 14 of its past 20 road games in the FCS ranks. So inept on offense. The defense was on the field a lot, wore down. But yeah, that's you lose by 20 to East Tennessee. That bodes. They were winless last year, and now you're like, my God, they're going to go winless again.
Was that a Facebook question there from Trey Jones? He wanted to know what you thought of the UCF Boise game the other night.
Fun.
I couldn't stay up. I could not stay up for it.
Yeah, 1:26 a.m. was the last play. I think Malzahn. It looked in the first half like Dylan Gabriel, who's a really talented quarterback, was struggling with some of the stuff they were doing. Right. And to me, that looks like a team that, instead of Malzahn adapting to what was there, he sort of made them adapt to him. Now, Isaiah Bowser, who ran for 166, the Northwestern transfer, he can play. But I still am extremely interested in going forward. Is this team really going to be that run heavy? And that would surprise me because Gabriel can toss the long ball. They got good receivers. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out because it was a nice win, especially considering they were so far behind. But the whole offensive identity is an intriguing question.
All right, despite the fact that Joe Tessitore drove me crazy last night by telling and Greg McElroy by telling me how great college football is, and we're watching a game in overtime, we understand that concept. We get it. We are sitting here watching a game in the middle of the night. We ought to be going to bed. We're watching because we love college football. You don't have to keep telling us.
Right.
I will tell you, though, this was one of the best college football weekends I've ever seen. We always hype these games up all summer, and then you get to them, and they're not that good sometimes. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, and I think, again, it goes back to because last season was so messed up, the idea that we're much, we're not totally 100% normal again, but we're close. The full stands. Mackenzie Milton's story is incredible. I mean, the dude almost lost his leg, and he's out there playing. And you wonder going forward, because he can actually throw the ball, unlike Jordan Travis. Then again, that FSU offensive line, you wonder about Mackenzie Milton's health behind that offensive line. But it wasn't cool. It was a great weekend. Started last Thursday. Then you had North Carolina falling on Friday at Wayne Stadium in Blacksburg. Right. Big games on Saturday. A lot of them lived up to the hype. Then last night's game was the OT game. And then there's one more, the Ole Miss-Louisville game to be played this weekend. But it's great to have real college football back, thankfully.
No question about it. All right. Hey, we appreciate it, buddy. Glad we want to get you on later in the year. You can break down what's going to happen with the playoffs as we get closer to that. But thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate you having me on. Enjoyed it, man. Good seeing you.
Mike Huguenin. Yeah, that's true.
Thanks.
Mike Huguenin from on3.com does a great job. A great website. You can get all that stuff for free. Ivan Mazel, who's one of my favorite writers in the world. I highly recommend on3.com. And, of course, was former sports editor of the Gainesville Sun. Knows college football like nobody I know. I think we're going to have Lomas Brown on Friday. That's what I was trying to find out here. So hopefully we do. We were trying to get Billy Horschel on after just finishing up his thing, but he's going to be in London. And he said I could try from there. And I was like, oh, come on, man. You can just say, I'm at Piccadilly. What are you doing? Anyway, but he said no. All right, so I've been working. Pretty amazing. We've got all of our things to do, including the Adams Ribco to go, Gator of the weekend, Leonardo's and Millhopper, quick picks. We got some qualifiers this week. Some of you picked well, some of you did not pick well. Hand law of three things. Can't wait to do that. And this, that, and the other, my favorite, and the Alex Wesley Construction 12-pack has totally changed because of the results of the first week. So we got a lot of stuff to get to. We'll take a break. We'll come back. You're watching or listening to Another Dooley Noted Podcast here on the Evan Network.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Car accidents, trucking accidents, motorcycle accidents, and wrongful death. If injured or killed by the negligence of others, who will fight for the compensation you deserve? Shakow and Mercadante, 5 lawyers, more than 100 years of combined legal experience, millions in settlements and verdicts. Call Shakow and Mercadante, 371-3000. Rebuilding lives.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it. This is Pat Dooley encouraging you to become a member of the Gainesville Quarterback Club, the oldest organization anywhere dedicated to Gator football. The club meets weekly during football season with an impressive list of speakers, including Bobby Stoops, Phil Fulmer, Steve Spurrier this year. Meetings are held at the Best Western Gateway Grand, and they have a special offer for you. The first 3 meetings you can attend for only $100. Believe me, this is a bargain, and trust me, you'll have a good time. Get off the bench, it's time to score for the Gators by joining the Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. Another Duly Noted Podcast. Of course, we are presented by Titan MRI from the Shakow Mercadante Studios. We love the people over at Shakow Mercadante, and they do such a great job, and love having them sponsor our studios. We've got a lot of things to get to. It looks like we will get Lomas Brown on Friday show, and that'll be fun to talk to him. And I'm pitching very hard. I saw some movement with Scott Strickland during an interview with Steve Russell the other day, where he's willing to at least review the rules and the way that you get into the Ring of Honor. And I think he's smart. Look, they're going to get Urban in, and whether it's this year or next year, it doesn't matter. They're going to get him in eventually. And you saw the whole thing with him Saturday night. That was a plan to get, hey, let's see what the crowd reaction is to him, and it was 90% positive from what I could tell. But then they may go 10 or 12 years without one. You got to win a Heisman. It's about the only way to get in, or a national championship. I mean, look, nobody's sitting here counting national championships at the University of Florida or FSU or Miami or Colorado or anywhere right now. You may be at Alabama, you may be at Clemson, you may, maybe not now. You may be at Georgia, which is fool's gold, But I'm just saying, I think you've got to at least make it possible for a guy to get in every once in a while. Instead of, we got all these guys in, we shoved them all in there in the beginning, and then Tebow got in, that was about it. So I'm pushing hard for Lomas to get in. And here's my theory behind it. He played in Pro Bowls. He played multiple, what was it? I got to get all the stats, 13, 14 years in the NFL. He's the best damn offensive lineman I ever saw. That right there should be enough. All right, let us go on that note to the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. And I had a lot of choices, man. I tell you what, it's a different world now that we're in football season, so I had a lot of options. In fact, I almost went with Florida's offensive line as a whole because rushing for 400 yards, no sacks allowed. That's ideal. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care playing against, Mount. What was it? Bishop. I can never think of the last. Sycamore. Bishop Sycamore. If you're playing against them, it's still pretty good. But I decided to go with Zach Carter. And one reason I did is Zach Carter came back and did a lot of hard work from I know everybody says, oh, he works so hard. Well, you've seen evidence on Twitter, Facebook, things like that of Zach Carter and how hard he works. And, he shows up in the first game and gets 3 sacks. Got a sack that caused a fumble that Gervon Dexter. I love the middle of their line. Don't forget, the middle of their defense had 4 guys who played really well, I thought. I thought both Newkirk and Valentino started off slow, but they got better as the game went on, and the other 2 guys really played at a high level. And they had to play the whole game because they had 2 guys that are going to be back, according to Dan Mullen today. He thinks he's going to have 2 more defensive tackles back, and that'll help the depth part. You can throw guys in there, especially for this game. You would think so. We're not even going to talk about USF and their miserable first game yet. But Adams Ribco to go, Gator of the weekend. We appreciate Adam so much. And Zach Carter, you should get some ribs at least. Maybe we could work that out NIL-wise to get some ribs. I'll buy them. I don't know can I do that? All right. It's time for the Leonardos at Millhopper Quick Picks. You guys got some people to qualify. Emory Jones was over 150. 187 total yards, 113 passing, 74 rushing, and yet everybody's like, oh, I don't know about him. And look, the reason people are kind of down on Emory a little bit is that pick. In the end zone, when you're about to go up 21-0, you're just destroying this team. You're going to put up one of those 52-20s, and he throws that pick, and then he tries to sneak it on 4th and 4, and that's where people get down on him, and I get that. But it's his first game as a starter. He did a lot of good things, did some bad things. But he did get over on that, and then Georgia winning the game obviously was another one. So we have I got the qualifiers written down at home, but you guys know who you are. We've got a bunch of them already, and we're going to keep going for another couple of weeks. We like doing this and letting people get in, and then it comes down to a draw. Today's Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Picks, live from the Shakow and Mercandani studios. It's very simple. Thursday night, I believe there is a game being played between a team in a place called Champa Bay and a team that plays in Dallas. Just give me the winner. That's all I want. I want Tampa Bay, Dallas, Thursday night football. Oh! I used to love doing Howard Cosell impressions when everybody knew who he was. It was great. Here's John Lennon, the Beatle. So that's your game. Have fun with it. Bucks and the Cowboys. I'll be watching that game. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm glad to see the NFL. I still don't get that whole NFL thing. Anyway, don't worry about it. It's me. All right, I've got to find this, as you may or may not know. All right, I'm not going to find it. All right, I was dealing with business there, so I got screwed up. The Hand Law, 3 things. Hand Law is a law firm that presents 3 things every week. They are involved in governmental law. You can reach their website at hand.law. Hand.law. www.hand.law. This is becoming a comic routine every week. I had it in my car and I left it there. Then I had it on my phone, but then I started trying to get Lomas Brown, and he's confirmed he's going to be on Friday's show. I'm excited about that. And then, anyway, they're available for consultation in Jacksonville. I got that correct. Hand, law, 3 things. If I start bringing the sheet in every week, people are going to go, oh, no, it's more fun when he screws up. I'm not doing it on purpose, I swear. All right, the hand law 3 things. It's an overreaction Monday edition of the hand law 3 things because we're all going to overreact. For example, Missouri had converted 1 third down in their entire game. But they won, and that's all that matters. If you win by 1, that's enough. Mississippi State turned it over 6 times. And they came back and they won the game against Louisiana Tech. That's all that matters. So don't overreact to all the terrible stats and all the bad things. React that your team overcame it. That's the key to games like this. That's number 1. Number 2, on the other hand, you could be a Vanderbilt fan and overreaction is your goal. I mean, you should be overreacting. You thought maybe with this new guy coming in who was a Vandy guy and understood the culture of Vanderbilt football, you could do better. And they may weigh. And again, this is my overreaction, okay? Get it? I'm overreacting. But clearly, when East Tennessee beats you 23-3, and you average 2.7 yards a run and 5.4 a pass, and you turn over 3 times, it could be a long season, and it could be a short career. Again, this is Overreaction Monday. But, again, Vanderbilt, I saw a column that somebody wrote, and it is dead on. Vanderbilt has just made a fortune off the SEC and hadn't put money into it, and so they can't recruit there. They can't do the way they do in baseball, where they get these extra scholarships, full scholarships that are endowed. I guess maybe they can, but maybe nobody still wants to go there because you're playing in a high school stadium. That was bad. So that was number 2. And then number 3, an overreaction Monday. My overreaction is I have your Heisman winner. It's already been established. His name is Ben Heffley. Do you know who Ben Heffley is? You should know who Ben Heffley is. Ben Heffley is a quarterback at Presbyterian. He threw for 10 touchdown passes in their game against St. Andrews. So they played a golf course. 10 touchdown passes in the opening game. Heisman leader, in my mind, right there. Believe me, there's some people that probably will put him up there. So that is the hand law of 3 things, and we thank them so much for all the effort and all the work they do. Hey, look, all right. 3 Things was presented by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Yay me. All right, it is time for This, That, and the Other. This, That, and the Other is sponsored by Shakow Insurance. We love the people over there. I just saw John Sr. the other day. Over at over here. It's right there, actually. We are at, by the way, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in the Coach's Podcast Room. All right. It is also sponsored by Ballyhoo Grill and by Ironwood Golf Course. So we appreciate those sponsors as well. We are looking for one more sponsor. We had one that dropped out, and we're looking for one more, and then we're going to cut it off. We're not even going to worry about it. So if you're interested, just give me a call. All right. The This, That, and the Other. This. I had my whole Saturday plan. Here was my plan. I will go in the morning and maybe get a little workout, maybe go pick some stuff up at the store, come back and watch football all day. Meanwhile, my wife is going to go to the game. My daughter's going to go to the game. I'm going to have the house all to myself, set up all the TVs. I'm set to go. That was the this. The that was that my wife said, I'm going to the tailgating. I said, whoa, what are you talking about? She goes, you said you would go with me. Oh, what point was I at where I would agree to that? Go out and be in the heat. Go out and be in the around all these people with coughing and stuff. But I did, and I did go. And the other was that I missed the first touchdown in Florida's football season because by the time I got home, I was there in time, and they didn't come to the game in time. So it doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. But it was, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. All right, we've got one thing left. We'll go ahead and get to it, and then. But I did want to mention. I'm kind of going off on tangents today. All right. We got some Facebook comments. David Colding, love your show, Pat. Gregory Hardy, Pat and Mike, quality programming. He worked with us together. Trey Jones, afternoon after Apopka. No labor being done on this Labor Day. Afternoon from Apopka. Yeah. Well, I'm doing labor. I'm doing this show. We're going to wrap it up right here. But I did want to mention that Florida got a big volleyball win on Sunday, beat number 10 Minnesota. Minnesota apparently is not off to a great start. I think they're 1-3 or 1-4 now, but they played a really tough schedule. Florida's ranked number 5. The new rankings haven't come out, but Baylor is number 9. That's who Florida plays Friday. So Florida with another big match here Friday. I'm 99% sure it's here in Gainesville, so that'll be a lot of fun as well for you fans to go to on Friday night. Good way to kick off your weekend. All right, let's go to the Alex Wesley Construction 12-pack. This is what you've been waiting for all day to find out where we have everybody ranked in college football of the 12 teams. And here we go. Yeah, I put Alabama 1. What do you think I am, stupid or something? It's ridiculous. I thought they might beat out Miami bad. I never dreamed it would be like that, where I'm looking at my phone. I didn't even watch the game because I'm out tailgating. And I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, it's 27-0 already. They're just ridiculous. And I put Georgia 2 because anytime you play in a game that big and you do what they did, even though they didn't do anything on offense, that's good enough for me to put you 2. Ohio State 3. I dropped Oklahoma down to 4. Not impressed with Oklahoma, of course, with that win over Tulane where they struggled and won by 5, I believe it was. Number 5, Texas A&M. I dropped them down a little bit just because I was more impressed with a couple other teams. But look, Texas A&M, I still think everybody's going to tell you that Alabama showed it's just who do they play in the playoffs. No, they've still got to play that game with A&M. Number 6, UCLA. Chip Kelly, fighting Bruins. What is it? What do they have on? Go look at their website for UCLA. It's a UCLA football website, and they've got something up there that's kind of funny. Anyway, number 7, Cincinnati. I don't know much about Cincinnati. I know they have a good team, and I got a lot of guys back. That's where I put them. 8, I put Iowa because Iowa had, to me, had one of the most impressive wins this weekend by killing Indiana. I thought that would be a heck of a game. Number 9, Oregon, waiting to see what they're going to do this week. Of course, we'll find out, and they could either fly out of there or not. 10, Florida. 11, Iowa State, after almost losing to, was it Northern Illinois? I believe it was. And then 12, all the tailgaters all over the country. And also, especially here. I mean, I got invited to so many tailgates, just walking along. It was a lot of fun to go to them. It was fun to be around them. And I'm sure that all over the country, people were able to do that again and feel like they were more together. So that was our Alex Wesley Construction 12-pack updated rankings. And we'll do this for you every week. Alex Wesley Construction, love where you live. I think that's going to do it for today's show. I think we've covered everything. And, yeah, I think so here are the numbers at loss if you go by the AP poll. And this is what's funny. People will say, oh, the poll coming out as early as it does, I don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to have a preseason poll. Nobody wants that. And then the first week of football happens. They go, look, number 4 lost and number 5. Yeah, okay. You're using it as a reference. So here's who lost this week. 3, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 20, and 23. Some of those somebody had to lose because they were just games between, teams that were ranked. But still, this is what college football is, and hopefully it's what it's going to be. To me, it was one of the best weekends I ever had, just watching different games. And, we'll see what Florida does going forward. We'll be back Friday, hopefully. Lomas Brown's going to join us. Can't wait for that. And we'll have him on the show. And then Monday, Dave Neal's going to join us, who does a lot of the games TV-wise. So that's it for today's show. Thanks so much to Evan for helping us out. And I am Pat Dooley. I am deep way back, and I am out of here.